Valencia is very well known in Spain because it is one of the main focus of medicine and health in Spain, especially in all the biochemical and biomedical effect. And now we have the health session, very, very important in Spain. We have the moderator, our president from Gaia-X, and the director of strategy of ET. Come here, Danny. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paqui. Now we are going to another very important sector in Europe, health sector. It is a very well digitalized, we can say, sector with a lot of data, but also with a lot of regulations, sensitive data. So we need to deal with some difficulties, some challenges in the health sector. But the impact is very powerful. We are saving lives with applying data technologies, AI technologies to the health operation in all the parts, all the elements of the health value chain. We will cover this panel with 4 projects. We will go from Health-X, which is a more Gaia-X oriented since the beginning project. We will also bring the EUCAIM project, which is the European Commission data space for cancer images, which is coordinated here in Valencia. We will have also Luxembourg, in another country, data space for health project. And also the Integra DPs, Integra Cloud project, which is a national project led by the INCLIVA, Josep Redon, INCLIVA, which is another hospital here in the Valencia region, but which is also very linked to European projects, to European strategy, and Josep will talk us about the project. So first, I will call Ronny to the stage to talk about the Health-X project. Ronny is software architect from the Bundesdruckerei. And Ronny, the floor is yours. You have 3-4 minutes to set the scene.
Thank you, Daniel, for your warm introduction. Yes, I'm software architect at Bundesdruckerei. It's a German federal company responsible for printing money and passports and ID cards, as well doing this on a digital way. So we are providing digital identities in Germany. That's why we were a good partner within the Health-X Data Loft project, where we developed a data space for clinical use cases, medical use cases. It's a data space which is patient-centric. So we focused on use cases which are relevant for patients. On the one hand, having a clinical companion, which is guiding you through a medical process from the first days to the rehabilitation after the clinical stay, and we have also built use cases for secondary data use, so that you can provide data to researchers and so on. And that was a great pleasure to implement this project using Gaia-X, because we learned many things about how to deal with decentralized data and decentralized identities, patient identities, and so on. And yes, I will be here to give you some information about this data space and in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ronny, for this introduction to the Health-X project. Now we go to Ignacio Blanquer from EUCAIM. Ignacio is full professor from the Polytechnic or Technic University of Valencia, and also the technical lead of the central hub of EUCAIM project, which is a very important project for Europe and also for Valencia region. Nacho, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. Yes, so what I'm going to talk here is about the European Cancer Imaging Federation. EUCAIM is an infrastructure that is being developed. We are now on the second years of the pilot project of the 4 years for gathering data related with cancer imaging and the associated clinical information. So the platform is created on a federated model. So it means that the data holders that we have in the project, currently the project has 90 partners, 90, and data holders, we are over 30, can decide to transfer the data, anonymize the data, well, there's a medical images, there's a debate if medical image can be anonymized or pseudonymized, to a reference node in which we provide the secure processing environment capabilities, or to link in a federated model. So this concept requires a lot of interoperability, compliance analysis, and therefore this is what links quite well with the topic of this meeting. So we need to have interoperability analysis at the level of the metadata of the collections. We need to have interoperability compliance at the level of the data models that the clinical data and the DICOM images have. And finally, we have to have service interoperability in order to connect the federated components of the different nodes for the processing and discoverability of data. We use a common AAI based on the life science AAI, which is with the most widely used authentication authorization framework for research infrastructures in life science. To end up, basically, we also we have a view of not running a project and that's all, but we are developing an European Digital Infrastructure Consortium, an EDIC. This EDIC is on an advanced stage in which we have the commitment of Spain also to lead it, so that's really a very good news. And in this EDIC, we want to be integrated in the European health data space, which has been recently approved and published in the bulletin of the European Commission as an authorized participant, which means to be an entity that has some rights on the side and the permits for accessing the data, because the data in EUCAIM is restricted. Only authorized users can access the data that is there. And I will be really happy to participate in this panel. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nacho. Now we are going to data space for health. Ralf Hustadt is data and AI go-to-market from NTT. He has been also working on the Luxembourg Gaia-X hub, national hub, and he's involved in different projects, especially in the health data space. So, Ralf, please, a brief introduction to your project.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the invitation, and apologies up front that I can't be with you in person today, but the schedule was just too busy, not allowing for that. So I'm happy that I can share this remotely. Yeah, so my name is Ralf, currently working as Director for Data and AI in Luxembourg and France for NTT Data. We're a little bit bigger than Google. If you don't know us, just Google us. And the project, I'm really happy to present the Data Space for Health today, because the Data Space for Health is actually a project that started when I was still sitting on the other side of the table as the national coordinator for Gaia-X in Luxembourg. So basically, I'm not one of the parents of this project, but I'd say I'm a little bit more of a godfather to this project. And I think it's not important to start the presentation of the project with what we're doing, but actually why we're doing it. So in Luxembourg, we have around about 400,000 people, and roughly half of them are traveling across the border, so-called frontaliers from Belgium, and Germany, and France. So when Corona struck, basically shutting down the borders was not really an option, because it would mean that you're cutting out half of the workforce, or tell them you can only work from home, which is not really an option when you're working from banks. So at that time, Luxembourg started with large-scale testing. So basically everybody in Luxembourg or working in Luxembourg has been tested 4 or 5 times. We built a solution for that at the time, and we had to build it under a lot of timely pressure. So nobody was really asking the question lingering in the room, like, is this really GDPR compliant? And we said, well, probably not 100%, but pressure is so high we can't afford to really ask that question now. We need to make sure that the economy keeps going and that we have a solution at hand. Now, fast forward then, later on, the question came up, it was like, what happens if the next crisis strikes, or if we want to build something maybe also for the academic area where we can build a solution? And well, the idea came up to build a data space for health, to actually build a compliant platform. So what we're doing is we're building an open healthcare digital data exchange ecosystem, focusing, of course, on innovation in medical treatments, and it should all be secure and compliant with EU and local regulations regarding the data sharing. The project aims to create a standardized framework, and also, of course, use most of what is already available in Gaia-X for the interoperability and for the seamless communication between different healthcare systems. It's led by Entity Data. It's co-financed by the Ministry of Economy. And we have a consortium of around 14 parties coming from all different areas, and they're still growing. So there's still organizations onboarding. Really happy to announce that we recently turned Lighthouse. And basically what we do is we build a platform, and we explore the framework of what it really means if you want to exchange data. So we're not just, let's say, focusing on one specific aspect, but we have the academic side with university in there, and LIST is in there, Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. We have on the other side hospitals. We're really happy to have the Luxembourgish National Data Services in there. So we have a variety of players with different backgrounds that actually say, we want to experience firsthand, we want to know where are the limits, for example, when it comes to using Gaia-X framework. And I think we come to that question later, where are the pain points, but we really want to build it. Of course, I mean, you can't really learn bicycling by watching the Tour de France. You really need to hop on that bicycle. So what we decided is we also need 2 real cases. So currently, the first 2 initial cases were oncology and diabetes treatment, so that we really have something where we can also create not tangible output in forms of software that we create and that we put on GitHub, which is, by the way, available, but also that we say, yeah, and we can prove that the machine works in the intended environment, being healthier, by saying it works for oncology for this case, and it works for diabetes on the other side. That's, I'd say, in a nutshell, that outlook. Where are we going currently with the experience that we're gaining? We are also, of course, aiming at the European healthcare data spaces, and we already have, let's say, first cooperations with our mothership in Japan, or via our mothership in Japan, with the Japanese environment, where we're testing the waters. How can you actually, for example, create ecosystems across different legal frameworks? Because in Japan, it's API, what we have as the GDPR pendant over here. I'd say that's it. Back to you, Daniel.
Okay, thank you very much, Ralf. Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting project. And now we go to the last but not least, Josep Redon from INCLIVA, which is belongs to the Clínico hospital here in the Valencia region. Yes, you have slides. You can use your.
Well, thank you very much for inviting INCLIVA to participate in this very interesting session. And then it is the oldest speaker with the youngest project. Then this is what I am going to present. That we pertain to the INCLIVA research. It is one of the institutes of research that are linked with areas of health. And then, well, after working in several projects with big data, European projects, the Recovery, Transformation and Resiliency Plan in Spain funded us to do some project. And the idea was to develop a data lake of health that included patient information from a department of health that covered around 300,000 subjects. But collecting all the information, as you will see that this is real, that, okay, the pointer is, no, well, and I'd say around 300,000 subjects, collecting information in continuous, trying to do in real time. This is to collect the information of all the subjects together. Well, with this, you will see the structure that we initially use. Those that you see in yellow and blue there is the sources of the data, but just only names. And you can imagine each of these names have 15, 20 different tables and sources. And then the idea was to put all together and to work with this at the time that entry in the platform rapidly was pseudo-anonymized the information automatically. This passed to this data flow that one of the structures that was provided by Minside can cover several things, including ontology servers. And then also we develop modules to develop tasks in artificial intelligence and so on. That at the same time, and everything is stored there. Well, getting this advantage, we also collect and prepare a high-performance technological structure with a very high-performance computing for communication, for computation, and also for storage, with a real big capacity for storage of that. And at the same time, we develop a security-based and governance and one organized access model in order that we can also follow that without problems, legal problems that we will have in this. Running this appears another support of another project that is Integra DPS. What is this? The idea is that escalate to other departments that can also put with the initial one, that this is the node. In this case, in order that identify, overcome the barriers for the well-engaged this, promote technical and semantic interoperability between the departments, and also participate in federated data spaces for the future. And then this is our structure. Our structure is health, is a data lake of health, but with two components. One of the components is that the health was collecting all the information of each of the subjects together. And the second one in continuous, not just only storage. If not follow, and our final objective is to arrive to the real-time update. This is what we have. Of course, a data space, we remember, and for Spanish, the data space kit will be founded by the government in June, the structure, and for sure, if you are interested in interoperating, contacting us. Thank you very much for your attention, and I can try to ask, if I can, the questions later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josep. You can join us on the stage. Then let's start a round of questions. We have here different levels of compliance, we can say, or of connection to Gaia-X in different projects, from Gaia-X originally conceived project like Health-X, but others that are now thinking or designing the connection to Gaia-X. Why did you decide, if you are now already in compliance with Gaia-X, why did you decide to use Gaia-X in your project? Or why are you thinking now to establish the connection with Gaia-X? Ronny, for example?
Yes, I didn't have the chance to decide if using Gaia-X or not, because I joined the project after it was already started 1 year ago. It is ago 2.5 years. But I learned to love Gaia-X because we saw many possibilities to have data not centralized, have data spread in a network and spread in the data space, not spread in this meaning, the data stays at the point where the data is created. If you have a radiologist who is creating MRT images, the data is available at the MRT clinic or MRT device, nearby the device. And if you want to use the data, you can request the data as a patient and share the data to your doctor. So you have two places where the data resides. One where it is created, there the data resides long time, and you have the doctor who have a short view into the data and can give you treatment for your specific needs. That was one thing I learned to love very much. And we also have another aspect. We have a decentralized identity. Self-sovereign identity is a key fact within data spaces. And you, as a patient, are part of the data space if you are using the data space. And if you are leaving the data space and coming back next day, all the data you left within the data space is lost in a good manner, because you don't have to decide that the data needs to be deleted. So you get the data you want, and GDPR is fulfilled by design. And this was a thing I like very much, having Gaia-X as a framework. And if I have to decide today in a new project which framework I want to use, it will be Gaia-X. And I can say there is an option that we will get a new big project, and we will use Gaia-X Trust Framework in this project.
Thank you, Ronny. Nacho, now that EUCAIM is also working very hard to establish an understanding, agreement with Gaia-X to collaborate very closely. So, which is your opinion?
Indeed, yes. We are in the process of signing a memorandum of understanding with Gaia-X, because as I was mentioning at the beginning, we have the need of verifying the compliance to the interoperability levels. We have defined 3 interoperability levels in the project. One, respect to the metadata compliance. Second, with respect to the data compliance and the discoverability. And third, with respect to the federated processing capacities. And you have to fulfill them progressively. And we need a framework, protocol, a set of tools to verify this compliance. So the trust framework also, in the discussion we identified as one very good candidate for allow us to quantify this degree of compliance. And we have started analyzing the part of verifying DCAT-AP schema. This is also well aligned with the health data space. So the health TCAT AP, which is the specification of the European Commission for the catalogs and the data sets, is being developed in the frame of HDS, but it couldn't be complete. It couldn't be the full specification for all the projects. There's a minimum part, there's a part that is being developed, and there are tools for verifying the compliance, but every discipline that adds additional information has to do it. So that was that this is the first step that we want to get the Gaia-X trust framework tested.
Okay, thank you. Ralf?
I could come up with a very, very easy answer saying, well, I did promotion from the other side as a hub coordinator, and entity believed me. But I think the truth is, why did entity data and why did the others choose Gaia-X as a suitable framework is, you can start developing your own stuff, and then it usually ends up in a drawer. So you need two things. First, you need an ecosystem around you. You need all the other parties. And you also need a place where you can, let's say, exchange what you are building and what others are building, and where that knowledge is sort of preserved. So from my perspective, all the Gaia-X projects always had their own strong focus of achieving something, and then it was more of an, let's say, excursion and explorative project mode, where you say, okay, fine, now we take this part, see if it works. Oh, no, it doesn't work. Then you come up with a solution and you contribute that into the different work groups to see if it makes it in the next round. So, and I think the ecosystem that we have with Gaia-X, with all the other parties working on similar projects where you can exchange and where you know that whatever you're building will be actually preserved, and where you can also pull a lot of data. And that is one of the important things. If you just do a project like this all on your own, you never achieve anything, because you don't have the market share or the power to build something that others will use.
Okay, thank you. And Josep, you mentioned in your slides, you included the Gaia-X framework.
It's okay? It's the sound? Okay, then considering that we are the youngest one in the field, and seeing and reading and having experiences and contrasting experiences with many people, it's a field that today is very complex. To move in one of these, in all the connectors and all the problems in this, for sure that we will trust with Gaia-X. We are members in the last year, and we will follow that advice for the best people that we consider. I don't know to say that with you, but also that the structure and the word of Gaia-X that will be the best in order to get this. You know that we are in the process of just to select the best collectors for this kind of data that we have.
Okay. Thank you for this first question. Now that you have highlighted the values, the advantages of being compliant or being connected to Gaia-X, which would be the barriers or the pain points you see in Gaia-X, or what do you ask to Gaia-X to accelerate, to automatize maybe the things, the procedure, the flows, and so on? Ronny, for example.
Yes, at the beginning, we are dealing with the situation that we saw GDPR, which I introduced with lost information of the patient. At the beginning, we saw that there is GDPR mentioned on many slides, but we didn't saw the subject GDPR, the natural person. In a trust framework and in the identities, we very often saw that there is a way to get become a legal participant within the Gaia-X framework, but we didn't saw to get a natural person as participant in Gaia-X. That was a problem for us as we are building a patient-centric data space. So at the beginning, it was built as a data space for companies. The idea was to have a B2B business, but we are on the way to build a business-to-customer or patient business as a data space. And this was the greatest barrier we had, but we managed to solve this problem by our own. And what I'm very happy about is that Pierre told me that this barrier is systematically removed out of the Gaia-X framework. So we are now friendly, not only in a business-to-business case, but also in a business-to-customer case. And the next step is to have a look, is this also matching the business to government case? Because we will have also these situations where we have businesses communicating with governments, and these are also special cases where governmental requirements for the communication between the parties are relevant. But for our use case as a health data space, the first step is solved, and I'm happy about this.
Okay, thank you, Ronny. Maybe you can change a bit the order. Now we can go to Josep if you want. If you have some request to Gaia-X in order to accelerate, to automatize the connection, or how Gaia-X can help you in the onboarding or your project to.
We are waiting for that, because it's absolutely relevant right now. All the other aspects we believe that are covered, and we have another kind of problems that I will comment at the end, just in case that if not appears when we are trying with and managing data of health with people, and for the interaction, and also for the use in secondary uses.
Okay. Now, Ralf, what are your request to Gaia-X to improve the onboarding or the connection or to the compliance process?
I think from our perspective, because our mother company in Japan is, let's say, member also in other organizations, I think the collaboration between the other DSPA members and, let's say, would be very beneficial. So basically meaning we can get access maybe to some of the stuff that it's a fireware are producing and vice versa. So that would probably help on building more and faster. Okay.
And finally, Nacho, maybe because we are running a bit out of time, but maybe what are your requests for Gaia-X, but also how would you automatize, because you are working in EUCAIM in those 3 levels as well. Yeah. So how would you try to merge both processes?
Yeah, I mean, I will really agree with Ralf in the point that the EHDS is really having a very clear procedure. EHDS has started approving the regulation, so what's really impressive in this sense, and therefore the procedures are being implemented in several projects, being aligned. Gaia-X is being aligned with projects like Quantum, who is defining the quality label for the data, like TIDAS2, that is defining the permit for accessing. So it will be very important for us. So in our case, we are trying to do the evaluation in a manual way. I mean, we are implementing the part of the DCAT with, trying to help with the concept of Gaia-X, but there are many aspects that are being defined in the regulation. So if we can align the effort in Gaia-X with technical solutions for the problems that are being identified in all these projects around the HDS, will be a win-win for sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are coming to the end of the session. I will ask you for 1 or 2 minutes maximum of closing remarks about what your project is and what we have talked here today. We can start from you, Josep. You mentioned you have other secondary use of data.
As I say before, that's the project is really young. But the team that is managing is very exciting to go ahead. And the objectives is to prepare the system for scale up in other departments one by one, or more in SRA. But once we arrive to these levels, that we think that we are well organized from the beginning, is we have problems. The problems are the connection, has been commented, that Gaia-X can help us a lot. And the other question is when you are going to manage health data for that secondary uses. If you try to anonymize, that this is the rules today, you are losing a lot of information. The question is, we know that there are movements in the European Union and even in our Spanish department that, if you demonstrated that you destroy your data, you can follow with pseudo-anonymization. But I think that this requires a more clarification. And I think that this is not a real and core use for Gaia-X, but some words and some help in this will be really appreciated for those that we are managing health data.
Yeah. Thank you. It's an important anonymization and pseudo-anonymization of information. You are losing information. But, okay, Ralf, which will be your closing remarks?
Yeah, I think I would like to zoom out a little bit or go up to 20,000 feet. I mean, for 4 years, we have been talking about digital sovereignty being super important. And now 4 years later, it's a little bit frustrating to find out that the best ambassador and the best salesman we have is the president of another country. Basically, he is making sure that we have the topic of digital sovereignty on the table. That's number one. I think that's a very, very important thing, just underlining the importance of Gaia-X. The second thing is what we're doing with health data is probably from a compliance perspective, one of the complicated cases or ecosystems that you can choose. And I think if we, with the 4 projects that we have over here, come to some conclusions and some results that really prove that the whole thing is working, then I would say, hey, if you can make it there in health, you can make it everywhere. So that would be my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Ralf. Nacho?
Yes, I think that it is clear that the health data space will be federated. I mean, this is how it is being defined. And federated means that we have to have infrastructures or computing infrastructures working together with data providers, with registries, with the organization at the level of the countries. So it's very important that we have frameworks that facilitate to keep the trust among all these actors. It's very likely that we will end up, I mean, this is what the HDS is defining, that data is collected in one way, is prepared and sent to a secure processing environment, then results are processed, anonymized or generalized, and then reused in other places. And therefore, we need this kind of interoperability very well defined and very well assessed. So I think there's a lot of potential work for Gaia-X in this sense.
Okay, thank you, Nacho. And finally, Ronny.
Yes. From my point of view, we should take in mind that we need to make data available. Anonymization is one point, but it's working on data which is already existing. But if I'm a researcher, I'm more struggling in finding relevant data. So data spaces give us the opportunity to make data available in a widespread way. Example, via HDS, the European Health Data Space, but it's necessary to add metadata to the existing treatment and clinical data to make it more possible to make data available for the researchers. For example, if I have a special type of illness, it's very important to have a unique identification of this type of illness, and so like SNOMED and so on, to make data available, to make it possible to have researchers made this data available to do their work, to research in special types of illness, the spread type of illness. They are easy to make a research on, more easy, not easy, but more easy. So I would suggest make a good catalog in your data spaces to make data available.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a good closing. Let's hope that Gaia-X framework can generate the conditions to have more data, more health data available for creating good applications, good artificial intelligence applications, and save lives, which is the final objective of all the health systems. So thank you very much to all the participants. Thank you, Ralf, online. And let's go to the next session in the manufacturing. Thank you.